Welcome to Identity Unboxed, where we provide mentorship and promote representation for Black professionals in the advancement of the Black community.
We are seeking guidance from exceptional Black leaders, scholars, and professionals with expertise in their respective fields.
We hope to foster a space that promotes authenticity, inclusivity, and restoration for our listeners while exploring the intersection of our personal and professional lives.
This project is a culmination of our lived experiences as young Black professionals to transform our life trajectories, to overcome adversity, and reach triumph.
Our intention is to inspire you on your path to discovering your purpose. Well, welcome, Preston. We're so excited to learn about your journey on season 3 of Identity Unboxed. You are a former student athlete at the University of Washington, and you ran on the track team. Then you also just graduated with your degree in visual communication design, architecture, and philosophy. So that's very cool. I'm excited to hear what you're going to do with it. And today we're going to talk about your experience walking on to making the Olympic trials. And our first question for you is, can you take us back to the moment you walked onto the track team at the University of Washington and what led you to make that decision? Also, what was the process like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with what led me to make the decision because I feel like that's the very beginning of the story. One day I was just sitting on my couch in my apartment, and how all great stories start, right? I was just kind of scrolling, and I was looking at the results, and I was like, oh, I think I definitely can do that. Like it's not that bad. It's kind of like how some people are like, Usain Bolt ran the world record in 9 seconds. I run 11. It's only 2 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. Um, and so like I saw the jumps and the records, and I was like, oh, I think I can do that. It's not impossible. So I ended up reaching out to my high school coach, and I said, hey, we have 2 weeks to get ready for this meet. So either we're going to make it happen or we're not going to make it happen. The worst that happens is I don't do well. And so I'm just very big on just jumping head first into whatever you want to do, and that's what I did. So I went out to this meet. I ended up out jumping their jumpers, their recruits, and I did great. And I was like, oh wow, this is fantastic. Let me reach out to the coach. So I reach out to the coach and no response. I don't hear a thing. I'm like, oh well, I tried. For what it's worth, I definitely put my best foot forward. Let's try the next thing and just move on. So this was during COVID as well. So not a lot of people were outside, not a lot of people were not wearing masks. Like masks are still a big thing. And just chalked it up. I was like, it's COVID, it's whatever. And so I moved on to the next thing, and my coach was like, hey, don't quit. You should keep going. You did really well. And so I was like, okay, fine. I went to another meet. I did better. So I started that year out at like 22 feet and 5 inches. And so I was like, oh, that's fun. And the next meet I ended up jumping 23, and I was like, oh, that's great. And then the next meet I ended up jumping 23 and a half. And I was like, wow, I love progress. This is amazing. The next meet I ended up jumping 24. I was like, guys, I'm like really good at this. This is awesome. You guys see the way I'm moving?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm super happy. And during this time, I don't have funding other than my parents. So it's me asking mom and dad, like, hey, like, do you guys want to come with me to the middle of nowhere to compete? Like, it'll be fun, kind of thing. And so they backed me on that, and we went out to a bunch of these. And of course, after every single meet, I'm emailing and texting the coach, and I'm not getting a reply, and it's fine. It makes sense, like why would they reply to someone that they don't know? Like this is completely random. And so by the end of the season, I jumped a couple more times, and I ended up jumping 24 and a half. So it was like that was a 2 foot progress. I was doing super well. I luckily, just because I chat with everybody, I knew someone on the team, my best friend Lonnie, and she was like, "Oh well, I can remind coach. I can maybe poke him a little bit and figure out what that's about." And so finally, at the end of the season, I kind of send a resume, but for track. I kind of like showed him like all of my jumps and my results and everything I did, and I just sent it to him because at this point, I texted his number, and I feel like that's a big no no. You don't get someone's number and you just text them randomly. Like that, you don't do that.
They're like, who is this? Probably a spammer.
So I'm getting texts. Um, at the end of the season, I was like, well, if I'm a spam text, at least I'm a spam text with a resume. You know, like at least I have results and something to prove that I did it myself. And so I sent him that and I didn't get a response. And so at that point I was like, okay, I gave it a year of competing on myself and competing by myself and going out to these meets. It is what it is. It's whatever. I was super excited though. Like I was proud of myself and the progress I made because it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, if I did really want to achieve something, it's not as hard as a lot of people make it out to be, I guess. And so I sent that out, and I get a text maybe a couple of days later. It's like, okay, let's meet. Meet where? Like, do you want to give me any details? Like, are we calling? Are we meeting somewhere? Like what's happening? And he's like, let's meet at the track. And it's like, okay, sure. And I don't know if probably a lot of people haven't been there, but UW's track is get it up. Like there's locks on it. There's another lock on it. You can't even look into it. Like they don't let you in there. And it's like I show up at this track and it's super informal. Like you think you're meeting your coach and you would want to meet in an office. He's like, no, let's meet at the track. I'm like, okay, fantastic, let's do that. And I'm waiting outside the track. The gates are locked. Just kinda I'm just in my regular attire, and he ends up coming over and unlocking it, and he's like, "Okay, we need to move these high jump mats across the field." I'm like, "Let's move these high jump mats."
Sure.
He's like, "Sure," like, whatever. So, I'm helping him move, and he's asking me, like, aimless questions like, "Oh, where'd you grow up at?" I'm like, "What does that matter?" That's not what I'm here for. That's not what and at this point, I didn't even want a scholarship. Like, I'm
Yeah.
on academic scholarships, like,
Yeah.
I'm in state. School isn't like
I just care
I
about
just
this.
want
I'm
the spot.
passionate.
I just
Yeah.
want the spot, you know? And so, he's asking me these silly questions that don't really have anything regarding to do to track. I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Fine, whatever." I help him move. After that, it's just kinda like, "Alright, well, we'll keep in touch." And I'm like, "Sure, sure, we'll keep fantastic, coach. Love it. Love you." And then then we headed out. And so I was like, in my head, yeah, I tried my best. Probably not the best interview I've done, but that's okay. And then another 2 weeks go by and he texts me, he's like, "Come to the track." I was like, "Okay, I'll come to the track. Sure, sure." But this time it was an indoor track. So I go to the indoor track and again it's locked up and gated. And I'm like, "Hey, like I can't get in here." And he's like, "Oh, someone's walking in right now. Just come in with them." I don't know this person, but sure. I walk in behind someone. It feels like I'm breaking into a building. Fantastic. I love that feeling. And I walk in and Dempsey. I don't know if you guys have been in there, but it's a
I've
giant
been in there. Yeah.
okay, a giant track, and he's sitting on the very far side of the track. And there's no lights on. There's maybe like one light. It felt like a movie. It felt like a movie. Like there's one light on and it's over him. And then there's one light on and it's on the other side of the track where I walk in. And so I'm like, okay,
It's so
okay,
mysterious.
it's so mysterious, but that's 100 yards of me walking by myself. And when I walk in, there's the people who are currently on the team, and they kind of look at me. They're like, "Who's this guy? We've never seen him." And now that I'm an athlete, I get that look. Like when someone comes into a place where it's hard to get into, you kind of like look at them like, "Don't come in here. Like find yourself out." And so I'm like, well, I walk 100 yards by myself, just do 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 over to the coach who's sitting on the bleachers, and he and this is no knock on him. This is the head coach Andy Powell that I met. I love him to death now. I think he's one of the smartest, brightest people that I've met, and I get his method to his madness now. But the very first time I met him, I was like, I'm not making this team. You know what? I'm not making it. It's cool. It's fine. It's whatever. He's asking me questions about like again where I grew up, what I focus on, what I do with my free time, will I fit in with a team dynamic, do I have a big ego, and like this isn't my first rodeo talking to people who seem like they're kind of questioning your identity. And so it's like I'm listening to him speak to me, and I'm like, okay, he's kind of questioning who I am as a person. He's trying to figure out who that is. And it's not a job interview. It's getting a spot on the track team. So it's a lot different. Like you don't want to go about it as if you're selling yourself. So you try to be authentic and try to present yourself as like this is who I am as an athlete. This is who I am as a person. But he's asking questions about both of those and kind of like your family and whatnot. And so that meeting happens, and again in my head I'm like, I personally didn't like that experience. So I couldn't imagine he liked that as a coach. And so this time 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks go by, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I just didn't make the team. I didn't hear anything back. This is kind of a bummer. And it's summer now, so of course I'm having myself a ball. So I'm doing my big one at home, and I randomly get a text from this lady. Her name is Robin Sutherland, and this is like the best part of the story. She sends me a text. She's like, "Hey, we need to pick your classes." I'm like, "Hey, Robin, I don't know you. I've been told to never give out my student ID. How are you picking my classes? Because I know nothing." And she's like, "We'll set up a meeting. It'll be fine. Like, well, I'm free on Tuesday at 4 p.m. in Rora." I'm like,
And you're like, do you have the right person? Like,
right. What?
yeah,
As much as I want to ask that, I'm like,
right. You're
oh,
like, let
sure,
me just go
sure,
along with it.
sure. What's the worst that happens? Like mistaken identity. I made it here this far, and that mind you, she hasn't said who she was other than her name. So like, I Google her. I'm like, athletic academic advisor. Why? Just kind of like that's super strange. And mind you, it's been 4.5 weeks now since I last saw the head coach. So I saw him in May, and now we're talking like end of July, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? So we have this meeting, and we go through an hour meeting of her going through all my classes and my majors and my focuses and all that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know colleges did this. Like, this is like a very intimate meeting. Like, she really wants to make sure I graduate. I think this is a regular person on campus at this point because I don't know Robin. I do now. She's one of my favorite people. But at the end of it, she's like, "Okay, we have your classes booked and scheduled." And this is one thing I will say about like the athletic world is that they make your life easy. Like student athletes, and I'm so sorry for anyone who wants to hold up this identity. Being a student athlete is the easiest thing in the world. They hand you everything on a plate. I'll get to that later. They give you everything on the plate. She picked my classes. She helped me pick my classes for the next 4 years in one meeting.
That's amazing. I mean, it's
That's
so cool
amazing.
that you got the individualized support also, because I feel like with UW being such a big campus, that's why some students get lost in the cracks, especially like the first gen students, low income students, because they don't know, like, oh, wow, I need to sign up for this many credits every quarter to graduate, or like these, electives or whatever classes to get there.
Mhm. So now I'm sitting in this meeting and I'm like, who just spelled out my entire life for me? Like, this is ridiculous. And so she's like, do you have any other questions? And I hate that question. People always want to say, do you have any other questions, anything else to say? And I'm like, no, no, I think I'm good. And she's like, okay, well, it's fantastic. And I'm like, wait, it was the most dramatic thing. I was like, wait. She goes, yeah. I'm like, it, am I supposed to be on a team? Like am I on the track team? Am I on the rowing team?
Which sport am I on? Literally, like they could have thrown you anywhere.
They could have thrown me anywhere. Am I in a sport? Like, what's going on? She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, nobody's ever told me that I made it on to a team. And at this point, I told my parents I didn't make it onto the team. Told my friends I didn't make it onto the team. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to let you down. And they're like, it's okay. 4.5 weeks later, she's like, oh well, let me check the roster. Does some typing on her laptop, and she goes, "Yeah, it looks like you're on the roster, so I'll see you in August." And that was it. That
What
was
a
it.
pleasant surprise.
What a pleasant surprise.
This
And
needs to be a show, I feel like for sure.
like, no, it felt like a prank because nothing about it felt right. Like it was a random number that reached out to me, and I could pull up the text today. Like it was just random, and the very end of what she said was like, "Yeah, you made it onto the team. I'll talk to you later. I have to get to my next meeting." Cool, great, fantastic. We end the meeting, and now I'm kind of sitting in my apartment, just kind of like, well, I think I made the team. Like, I'm still not positive. Like, I think I made the team. It's whatever. And the exact same day, I'm like checking my email because I'm like, maybe I missed something. Like maybe the coach just sent me an email or a text. Like, let's figure out what's going on. That same day, I found out I made it into the design major. So the VCD design major is also like super hard to get into. Like they only let in 60 people a year, and there's the entire school. Like they have 2,000 applicants, and they only let in 60 people. So that day, I'm like scrolling through my email, and I found out, oh, I made it into this super tough cohort as well. Like, oh, ballin'. And now at this point, I'm like, something's wrong. Like
You're like, there has to be a mistake. I can't have
it
this
has
much
to be a
positive news.
mistake.
Like,
Like both in one day. That just doesn't happen. You know, I I don't believe it. So I go and I'm watching the sunset, and, with all my friends. We're sitting on the rooftop, and I'm telling them this, and they're both like, "Oh yeah, that seems fake. You're wrong. Uh, that didn't happen. That's not a real story." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, you guys are right. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's whatever." So I go out about the rest of my summer. I don't think anything of it. Like I know I made it to my major for sure, because like on the UW website it changes. It goes from like I forgot what the word is, but it starts saying your
it'll
major.
say pre-major to like
There it is.
major and
There
what
it
your
is.
department
Boom
is.
shot.
Yep.
That's exactly what
Yep.
it says, and they make it real big too. And so you're
And so
like,
you're like, that one's right. This is
"That was right
accurate.
for sure. That was right for sure." And I'm like, "Fantastic. Like, this is amazing." Now comes end of August, I think, and my coach the coach randomly reaches out to me. He's like, "Hey, don't forget that today is the first day of, like, summer onboarding or something." And I was like, "Summer onboarding?"
I was gonna ask, like, were they having practices at this time, or like, how did you
Uh,
find out about that? Or they're just like, hey,
exactly.
practice is at noon.
Well, it was exactly that. It was
That's
one of the
crazy.
situations where it's like, I'm sitting at home, just kinda clicking through the TV, like, "What's on next?" And they're like, "Hey, we have a meeting in an hour." And I'm like, "Right, right, an hour? Sure, like, I'll be there." I'm not doing anything, like, I can make it there. So, I take a Lime scooter down to the football stadium because that's where the meeting is. And so the meeting starts at 12, mind you, and I find out at 11. I also find out that Lime scooters can't be ridden on campus. So now I'm stuck with a Lime
Yes, but
scooter.
it changed now. Now they are allowed to.
This was
Yeah.
fun. This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
Back in my day. Um, no, so now I'm on this Lime scooter trying to get to this meeting on time, and I can't park the Lime scooter because I'm on campus. So now I'm stressing. I have to go a half mile out of the way just to park the Lime scooter off campus and walk my now very sweaty and out of breath self into this meeting 10 minutes late. One thing about me, and I think any of my friends know, is I won't be early. No, but I won't be late. I'll tell you that. Like, I'll be right on time every single time. But for like the very first time, I was late to a meeting, and like this was just strange. Like I had to walk. I walk in at like 12:15, whatever. And when I come in, there was a name table of like a bunch of names written on like these what are they called? Stickers, whatever, name cards. And when I walk in, the table is empty. So I'm like, you know what? They might have messed up.
You're like,
They
I really did make it. Like they
really
forgot.
did make it. Like it's a mistake. Like, oh shit. Excuse my language. And I don't you guys probably felt it. You feel your heart like kind of drop, and you're like, oh, I was so excited about this,
Oh
but
yeah.
I've been pranked, you know? So, I kinda walk in, I look at the name table, I do a quick scan, I, like, look at the room, it's a bunch of football players, soccer players, all these people and they have the purple backpacks, and they're wearing UW stuff, and I'm just in free dress. Like, I went to a private school when I was a kid, I went to private Catholic school, and we wore a uniform every single day. Maybe, like, once every 2 months, we get a day of free dress. Now, I walked in, and it felt like I wore free dress on the wrong day. Everybody's wearing UW stuff, and I'm over here in a matching blue and red sweatsuit, woo! I'm loving it. It's a swooshy pants too, so I didn't walk in quiet. I walked in loud.
I'm sorry, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
They're probably like, is he in the wrong place? Or
And it's one of those moments too when you open the door and everybody does they all look at me. So I'm like, oh man, moment's too big. I turn on a heel and I start walking out because obviously I wasn't supposed to be there. And the lady comes back, she's like, "Oh, are you Preston Artist? Like there's one name tag. We just cleaned them up." And I'm at this point, my hand is actually just on the if this is a door, my hand is on the door. Like I'm getting ready to walk out. And she's like, "Oh, there's like one left. Like, are you that person?" And I'm like, yup, that's me. Like, cool, 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 cool. I peel it off, I throw the sticker on my chest, and I sit through 2.5 hours of orientation. Mind you, I still know not a single soul. I'm wearing everyone's got this whole thing on, and we're going on a tour of like the football facility, the basketball, like where the training room is, where the team doctors are, nutrition centers, and all these people, they're introducing me to all these people, and I'm still questioning, like, why am I here? I haven't seen the coach in now 3 months. He sent me a random text saying, like, you have a meeting today. And I'm so confused. But UW is like, you know what? After orientation, let's have a athlete barbecue. Sweet. So now that same day where I still know no one, every single athlete from entire UW athletics is at a barbecue in the football stadium, and they're chopping up with their team members and all these other people. And now I'm feeling like the kid who has their lunch and doesn't know anybody. So now I'm kind of looking around. I grab my lunch and I'm like, you know what? It's time to go home. Like if this like pinch me, it could be a dream. Pinch me. It's whatever. Um I look around, I try like there's clubs, like there's student athlete clubs that you can sign up for. I'm like, sure, I'll just write my name down just because at this point I had no UW stuff. And if you signed up your name, they give you a free t-shirt. So I'm not signing up to these clubs because I want to be in them. I'm signing up to these clubs because I want gear.
get the merch. Yeah.
Give me the merch. Let me feel like I belong here or something. Like I walked out with 5 t-shirts, 6 wristbands, a headband, a hat, and a clear bag. And at this point, I'm like, oh, I'm a super fan now because I'm not on this team. So I got the shirts draped over my arm. I have a food box, a drink. I looked around, and mind you, I didn't leave immediately. I stayed like a good 20, 25 minutes trying to just figure out and try to navigate it. I talked to other athletes and all those people, but they all looked at me. They're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, I was gonna ask you at any point did people come up to you and like try to initiate conversation or
No,
see like how you were feeling?
no athletes like on belief, proper belief, they're snooty. Like they're quick to turn their nose up at someone and just kind of like if you're not one of us, they're.
Yeah. Because you didn't have
I
the gear,
didn't have to get. I
Yeah.
didn't reach out to no one had seen me before, and so
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, you know what, this has been cool. Like I enjoyed like what everything they told me. Like I got a personal tour. That's awesome. Now I'm walking down these steps, and they're the steps. It's where there's like 70 steps in a row. It's just big old stairs up to the top and up to the bottom. And so now I'm doing the humble stroll down these stairs because I'm going home. Like it's whatever. I'm going home. And as I get down to the bottom, my coach appears out of nowhere. Like mind you, I hadn't seen him in 3 months, and I swear he might have popped out from behind a pole. And he goes, "Oh, person, like, how are you?" I'm like, I'm good. I just had an orientation. It was very confusing. Am I on the team? I asked him this. This is the first time I've seen him in 3 months. Am I on the team? Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh yeah, yeah, you are. Have you seen the locker rooms yet? No, I haven't seen the locker rooms. And he's like, do you have your key card yet? No, I don't have a key card. Like I can't get into any of these buildings. I'm still not sure I'm supposed to be here. And so he's like, okay, let's go. And so we end up walking in and we do like a tour and seeing everything. And he's like, yeah, you're on the team. And I'm like, are we having practices? And he's like, oh yeah, we have practices every day. Do you want to come? Sure, sure.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't actually.
After all this confusion, I want to hang out for the rest
I
of the
just want
summer.
to hang out. You know,
Yeah.
like I thought the water tasted great here. Maybe I'll just
Yeah.
stay for 15 minutes. I don't know. Like
That is so chaotic.
it was chaotic, and I think the best part is I never told my parents. Like the whole time I was like, I'm not telling them that. Maybe I did. Like it wasn't a confident thing. And finally, they give me like the stuff where it's like you have a key card and all that jazz, and they introduced me to this guy. His name's Gary. Gary, I call him Gary Bear. He's our merch guy. You go to him for like your shoes, socks, sandals, shirts, pants, whatever. And you go, this is Gary. Here's your stuff. And Gary slides me this bag and a suitcase. I have the suitcase over there. I'm not bringing it, but it's the biggest suitcase I've ever seen. Like if you balled yourself up and you put yourself in a suitcase, imagine two of you can fit in there. That's how big this suitcase is, right? And they hand me a suitcase filled with stuff. And I'm like,
You didn't drive there, right? You took the
no, I
line.
took a lime scooter.
This is getting funnier as it goes.
How am I supposed to get home with this? You know, like, and I don't know my way around well enough where I'm like, I can leave my stuff here. I don't want my stuff to get taken. Like, I just got this. I've had it for 33 minutes. I want to keep it. I don't want to just leave it somewhere. So I take my backpack and my big old suitcase to Lime Scooter, and I'm Lime Scootering home with one hand in the suitcase. And that's the day I found out I was on the team. That's how I walked on, and that's my story. Like that, it was everybody's expecting everybody's asked me, they're like, "Oh, like, was it cool they welcomed you with open arms?" I was like, "No." I didn't think I made it 10 times out of 10. Like there's 14 times in which I thought I didn't make it. And that I ended up making it onto the team. But
Almost
Wow.
like it was an initiation ritual. Maybe that's what they do for the walk-ons, just to test the waters, see if you're going to
See
keep
how dedicated
coming.
you really are.
Yeah.
oh, exactly,
Like, is
exactly.
he going to keep showing up? He doesn't really know what's happening, but he might be passionate enough.
Yeah, we'll just keep giving him some breadcrumbs and
Yeah.
see if he
Yeah.
Breadcrumbing.
like I think there's so many moments that went through my mind where it was I'm not going to show up, but because I had nothing else to do at the time, I ended up showing up. And I'll say this as well, like to give student athletes a little bit of props, like once they're in the program and you have to deal with all like the meetings and practices and you want to take care of yourself, life does get a little bit busier. Like before I walked onto the team, I was doing 3 majors. I was taking 5 classes a quarter. I had nothing to do. Like I was bored. Classes were online. So just out of pure boredom, I was taking extra classes and I love to learn, not for the fact I love school, just because I like knowing stuff. And so I'm taking extra classes and I'm racking up all these classes that earn me credits for the major. And I'm like, Shh, I'll do it. Yeah, that's awesome. That's sick. Life once you become an athlete does change a little bit because they don't allow you to take that many credits and classes because now picking up a sport is like another major. You have to dedicate the same amount of time you do for your sport as you do your major. And I will say that was a little bit of a learning curve. And everyone's like, "You're taking hard classes." I was like, "They're not hard if you have nothing else to do." So
But
if you
that's like not sustainable, I guess, when you have all the athletic commitments and everything. So did you drop some courses because of that?
I did.
Oh,
So
wow.
it kind of stunk a little bit, and I he and haw about it now because I'm like, oh, I wish I just continued down that route. Um, but because I started doing so much, I worked for my parents at the time, and so it got to a point where I was like, oh, I can't come into work how I used to, and I can't focus on my major and whatnot because now I'm doing other things. Like when I was just a student, I was studying, I'd hang out with friends, and then I'd still have another maybe 9 hours of the day. They really had nothing to do. Like, I was taking extra classes just because I enjoyed it and it was free. Like, if you're on major and academic major, you take more classes, they're like, "Here's more money, take more classes, learn more." If you know what I'm saying? Like, it was free, and I love
Yeah, you
fluking.
can take as many as you
I
want.
can
I
take
think up to like 21 credits or something.
I was getting
So,
credits every
yeah.
single like
Yeah.
I was like,
You were
why not?
smart though cuz you got ahead.
Yeah, I got ahead. And so which is funny because I got ahead, I was supposed to graduate in 2 years and I ended up graduating in five. So so so
That's
it's,
actually a big difference. Because I was like, when I remember when you were a little freshman, I was your orientation leader, and I was like, he
yeah,
has to be graduating soon. Like, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's
yeah,
coming up.
yeah. So it's funny how everything works out. Like it took all these classes and whatnot just for it to not end up mattering at the end of my graduation. But I still learned a lot. Like I still got to experience a lot and I definitely enjoyed it. But yeah, that's how I walked onto the team. The messiest story ever. You know, I went the long way.
I love that. I think that's so cool. And I feel like a big theme in that was your persistence and dedication. Like, even when you didn't know if your talents were going to be recognized or noticed, like, you still showed up for yourself. You put in the work. And a lot of people don't chase their dreams or their passions because they feel like, oh, nobody's watching me, or, I don't think I'm going to make it anyways. And then they just dedicate their time and put that energy elsewhere. But I love how you stuck to it. And going back, I think I remember you said, like, your high school coach, when you were like still trying to like, in the beginning wanting to get on the team and he told you like, don't give up, like keep going. Can you speak to the importance or like how that impacted you having a mentor that was like, hey, keep pursuing this dream, don't give up? Because it worked out in the end.
Oh yeah. His name is James. I love James to death. It's funny how you think someone who like a mentor, like you think of a mentor, someone you kind of talk up to, and it's kind of that. But he ended up becoming one of my best friends. Like we talk all the time. Where I'm able to tell him like how I'm feeling, like what's going on, and he understands the stressors and what I'm going through just as a coach. And he's just become one of my favorite people because when you're having moments of doubt and in theory there's always someone who knows more, and this wasn't a situation of he knows more, this is a situation of he believes I can do more. And so having someone just kind of back you up, that's not your parents, because your parents always have your back at the end of the day. Like your parents have your back, but having someone outside of that who you hadn't talked to, I hadn't talked to him in like 3 years. I graduated high school, there's COVID, I just hadn't seen him. And for him to be like, "You know what? Like, how much progress you've made from this to that, like, it makes no sense to just let go. You should keep going." And it even got to moments like, I had arguments with him, like, it wasn't sunrises, sunsets, butterflies, and rainbows. Like, I had arguments with him where I was yelling at him and he was yelling at me because I was like, "You're wrong." Like, this is dumb. Like, this pipeline dream of becoming a D1 athlete without the coaches even paying attention makes no sense. And so, like, we had our arguments, but it's one of my biggest beliefs that I learned from my mom and my gramps, where it's like, if you get in an argument, it's whatever, 5 minutes later, it's fine. So, like, I've had arguments with my mom where it's like, we'll be mad at each other and we'll be like, "Hey, you wanna get lunch?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's go get lunch," you know? And I think the importance of having that and a coach who's also willing to challenge you and a coach that's willing to have those conversations. I think a lot of people avoid conflict, and when you're able to embrace conflict with someone and get through it, you learn a lot, and it helps you at the end of the day because they trust you, they believe in you, and it becomes more than just yourself. It becomes more of like a team atmosphere, like a family atmosphere where they think that you can get to the next step if you choose to. And I think that was super important.
No, that's so cool. And I think it's so important that you talk about that because I think it also demonstrates that you were receptive of the feedback, even if you felt some resistance to what people were saying and
Yeah.
you had like a village rallying around you, you still, were open to allowing their thoughts to kind of guide, your next steps. And I also think it's great that you talked about how you felt so uncertain throughout the whole process because I think that's kind of like the biggest step before we like ascend to wherever we're going to go or that next chapter is you're going to feel like I don't know what's going on. Honestly, even when people look like they have it all together from the outside, I'm sure like many of your friends and stuff, once they saw you made it, like they were like, oh yeah, he's been putting in the work this whole time. Like, of course he made it. But not knowing that entire period you were in limbo and you had no idea there was all this ambiguity. And it's like you just kept, like Brad said, being persistent, and you remained steadfast in what you wanted to do. And so I think, for those walk-ons that are interested, they may feel like, discouraged along the way, but they just need to continue to keep showing up. Like that's the most important thing.
Yeah. No, I have a bunch of people that reach out to me over Instagram DMs, and they're like, "I want to walk on the team. How do I do it?" I'm like, "You're
Just
skipping
go.
you're skipping so many steps already. Like,
Yeah.
one, you have to believe in yourself. It's not what I say. Like,
Hmm.
a matter of what you have to believe for yourself." So they send me these messages. I'm like, "Hey, you have to, one, believe in yourself and your ability to do it, and two, prove that you can do it. And all you have to do is just go." So like, I skip a lot of steps, but at the end of the day, like I reply to everybody. I'm not a big time, like I'm not a blue check super athlete. Like,
Yeah.
I get maybe 8 notifications a day, and 8 of them are from my brother or my cousin or my friends. Like, so when I get like
You're
a
like, I'll respond. I see the DM.
yeah, when I get a nice
Yeah.
message, I'm like, "What's up, yo?" Like,
That's so nice. Yeah.
awesome, you know? And so I'll watch film for you, like, whatever. Like, I want people to believe that much in themselves. And so, like, you just have to do it at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the first person I think I've talked to that, I mean, at least at UW, that's walked on. I hadn't met anyone else that had done that. And then also, like, didn't you end up getting an athletic scholarship at some point too
Yeah.
with that? Wow.
So that was yes. So my first year when I walked onto the team, I it was the weirdest thing. So the previous year I went from 22 feet to 24 feet. Cool. Like, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, in the NCAA, like, D1 world, like, 24 feet doesn't get you anywhere. Like, it wins a meet, yes. But if you want to go to like regionals, or you want to go to the conference championship or the national championship, 24 feet doesn't do that much. And so I was like, okay, like, I'm happy I made it on the team. Like, what's next? Like, becoming the best jumper wasn't my goal. My goal was to keep my seat on the team. So I'm like, you know what? I have to keep jumping well. So my first year, I went from 24 feet to 25, and like, that was like it was a lot more smaller changes. But in order to do that, I had to try things differently, which was even harder than you think. Like, you think you made it this far, you can keep doing the same thing. But when you make it that far, like going from 24 to 25 to 26, the changes and what you have to do is a lot different. So my first year was really good. I ended up jumping 25 feet. I think you guys asked me about it. It was like the best jumper in 15 years, which,
That's
again,
so wild.
like, I
And
didn't
UW
care.
history, right?
Yeah, and you know history, but I didn't care about that. I was like,
You
man,
didn't know. Yeah.
I just want to stay on the team, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I had a great first year, and it was awesome. And then it's like everybody starts rah-rahing and coming around me. They're like, "Oh, you're doing great. Like, this is like, we're proud of you," which is sweet. Um, then the next year, it's just kind of like, okay, you have to keep progressing. You have to keep moving on to the next thing. And so the next year, I guess by God's will, I had a good enough year to jump 26 feet 4 inches, which is super sweet, and I love that. I became a lot more consistent. I was jumping 25 every single meet. I was setting meet records. I was having having a ball. It was fantastic. I became the Pac-12 champion. I went to nationals. I got fourth or fifth. I don't remember. I was too excited to remember. I was an academic, like, All-American or whatever. I became like a two-time All-American, and I went to
That's
nationals.
so amazing.
It was like
Wow.
it was like, "Oh my gosh," like, this was awesome. And I ended up calling for the Olympic trials. And then that's even cooler because it's the people that you watch on TV, you see on social media, that have millions of followers, and you're like, now they're my peer. And getting to be that peer level of someone that you had kind of put on a pedestal kind of makes you look at them differently. Like, I think any athlete will think of their competitor as maybe like schmo, like they don't care. Like if you're a competitor, like we're going toe to toe, head to head. I don't care if you've done all this. This is my opportunity to beat you. And so I ended up coming. I don't even remember what it was, but I was 11 centimeters from going to the finals, which makes, and I was maybe 20 centimeters from going to the Olympics. But
That's wild. Wait, so can you talk about like what was the preparation for that? Because obviously, like you do well at nationals, that's pretty amazing. You're probably like doing more than you even anticipated, but like
right.
Olympic trials, like that's real deal. So were you like, wait a second, like I need to up my preparation, like mentally, I need to, do something else, or like what was that period like?
It was actually I the worst things happen at the best times, I guess. I had the worst meet of my life. It was at the outdoor championships. I was working on my major. So my major is a massive time requirement design. It's a lot of people think it's kind of just coloring stuff in, but you have to do your research, you have to properly make a design. If somebody wants a change, you have to make the change. It's everything that you make, and I'm trying to look around me if there's anything, but like everything that we make is super intricate. The things that people see day to day that don't realize someone made that. Like I have this book, and this book seems like a simple illustration, right? It's Harry Potter, but someone had to design this typeface. This is what my major's for. Someone had to design where everything goes, the colors, and it's just a massive time requirement to do the research and find the right thing. So I do a double all nighter before I compete for nationals because I'm talking to my professor, and this is the worst I've ever done in a class as well. But you know,
But you were
class
going to the trials,
I'm
so you
going
were
I'm
still
going
winning.
it's
Yeah.
whatever. But so at nationals, I'm trying to work this out, and I go to compete, and I end up jumping the worst I had in 2 years. So everyone's like, "He's the best jumper, he's breaking records," and then they see me at the national stage, and they're just kinda like, "Oh, what happened?" And it's just kinda like, "Oh, I was trying to get a career started." Like,
I'm
I was
trying to graduate actually. I
trying
need
to
to get my
graduate,
degree. So
actually. So So the worst thing happened at nationals, but when that happened, I finished the class. It was whatever, but it was finally like I was on this high horse. I was on this high, unbelievable high. I was just doing great. I was happy. Nothing could go wrong in my eyes, and then something did. But in that going wrong, it allowed me to ground myself a little bit and kind of like, okay, this is why I started doing it first of all, and this is how I started doing it. And so it allowed me to ground myself and kind of rework training and focus on track a little bit. And I went to trials and I did better than I thought. I thought I was gonna come in dead last. Shit. They I didn't. I came in 11th. I was happy.
that's pretty good. I mean, just being there, it would have been an accomplishment, even if you
Yeah,
were dead last. So
yeah, I was happy. I said there's nothing anybody can say to me that I I'll care about. Like I made it at the end of the day. I'm happy to be here. So
Never underestimate yourself.
never underestimate yourself, but at the same time, like, be real. Like, I'm I'm coming in to do this. If I'm coming in to get 24th place, well, they took 16. If I'm coming in to take 16th place, I'm gonna take it with pride. That was my big one. Um, and I didn't come 16th place, so I was happy. Um, this year it was I'm a big believer in threes. You have good, you have great, and you have bad. And unfortunately, this just wasn't my best year this most recent year. But at the start of it, they did offer me an academic scholarship or athletic scholarship, which is awesome. I never expected that from track or sports or my entire existence at UW. And because of my season last year, they offered me one this year, and that was sweet. Like you see people in the SEC and these top athletes, they live a certain lifestyle and kind of whimsical through life because they're not sponsored, they're supported by the school. And having my coaches believe that in me was so sweet. Like they're like, you know what, we think you're good enough to have a scholarship. We want you to remain here. And it's kind of like all the dedication and energy that I gave to them, they're just kind of like, hey, let's throw you a bone and support you as well. So that's super sweet.
I love that. I really do. I think it's cool that you were able to be supported with that scholarship. And I know you mentioned the all-nighters. School, it's tough, especially I could imagine when you're a student athlete, so much to juggle, because even alone, it's a lot to juggle. And you were doing a lot. And so I was wondering if you could dive more into how you managed your mental health with your demanding schedule as a student athlete. And if you could see any changes with how student athletes are supported by the institution, what would those be?
Um, yeah, yeah. So I will say there's something that's talked about a lot within the inner networks of athletes and staff, and schools generally do a great job at supporting your mental health. So we have so many resources. We have different versions of therapists. Like you can go to someone who is a proper therapist, right? And kind of help you out. Or if you don't want to talk to someone, you can have like a beginner level, like someone who can just you can talk to who is obligated to not say anything. Schools do a great job of providing you with resources. But for me, like personally, it wasn't a matter of finding resources or kind of dealing with what they had to say. It was more of a juggling act. Like for me, like finding out what worked was throwing everything up in the air and finding what I can catch before it hits the ground. And I'm just a big believer in just trying something. And so dealing with like mental health and all that and focusing on schools and studies was just juggling like how many things I can keep up in the air at once. And I'm very real. So if I'm like trying to catch something and I'm like, you know what, that's all the way over there, like you have to let it fall. And that's one, I don't know how you guys found out I was also an architecture and philosophy major. I thought that was crazy.
Oh yeah, I did some research on LinkedIn.
It's a
I did a
reach.
deep dive. Yeah.
That was insane. But
We know a lot about you.
those are one of the things where it's like I was trying to juggle everything and I was like, I can't do it. Like this is too much. Like if I go over here to catch this, I'm letting a lot more fall. And so just kind of dealing with that myself. And having like real conversations with your parents. I think a lot of people don't get that connection with their parents and where it's very black and white until later in life. And I got to have that conversation my junior year of college where it was like, "Mom, Dad, like I'm struggling and I don't know what to do." And they kind of were like, "You can't keep all your interests at once. Like something has to fall." And it's humbling, especially like I had a super high GPA in high school. Like things that in school wise just seem easy. And finding out when things are finally hard is so humbling. Like I was like, "Oh
I
wow."
went that through that at UW too. Like
Yeah.
it hit me right in the face and I was like, "Wait, should I even be here? Like, should I go?"
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, wow, okay, you know what? Some things do need to like fall by the wayside, but it's not that you can't come back to it. It's not that you have to ignore that it ever existed. And so it was like a matter of like picking your strengths and weaknesses and trusting that like no matter what, you're not gonna people aren't gonna think of you differently. And that was the biggest thing. Like once I realized like my personality is my personality and that people aren't gonna judge me for not having 3 majors. I was fine. I was very mentally sound. Like I had a great support cast around me. I think they call 'em athletes call people who aren't athletes narcs, which is I hate that word so
I
bad.
learned that and I was like, "Oh, well, it's like non-athletic regular person, right?"
Yeah, and I
And I
hate
was like, "Just a student? Like I'm just a student."
exactly.
Yeah.
And I hate it so bad, but I had friends who were just students, like because I walked onto the team and those people ended up becoming my my safety kind of like I could go to my roommate, I can go to my friends, I could hang out with them. And with them, I wasn't talking about sports. I wasn't talking about grades. I was just talking about like whatever was happening in front of us. And give them a lot of credit to why I was the way I was. Like I didn't struggle like knock on wood, I didn't struggle mentally with anything or struggle through any form of anything just because they supported me. Like they gave me the assurance that reality wasn't falling out of my grips. And I think that was huge. So just kind of having that support cast and having real conversations with my parents.
I
100%.
feel Yeah, I think it's so cool that you were able to recognize that I can't do all of this because I feel like there's such an emphasis on grind culture, and then people start feeling guilty and shameful if they can't do it all, if they can't, do track, have three majors and work and do this and that. And it's so easy to feel bad about yourself. And so I think it's amazing that you recognize, like, hey, I can't do this all right now. It doesn't mean that I can't come back to it and pursue those things later. But in order to take care of myself and make sure my mental health is fortified, I have to drop some things so that I can put extra focus, because it's so easy to do so many little things and then you're like half-assing everything because your mind's in a million places.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I echo everything Brad said, but also I think it's so important that you shared the outlets you had. You had your parents, that you are willing to talk about it. And I think that's kind of the hardest part for a lot of people is saying like, I think I'm struggling or I'm having, issues or I feel like I'm not keeping up because it feels like, you're inadequate in some way and you were willing to, have that humility, like you said, even though you felt like you'd been knocked down, like you were willing to figure out, well, what's the work I need to do to get where I want to go basically, and I can take a step back. But I was going to ask you more about your three majors because that's like very ambitious, and I don't think I had known anyone when I was in school that was majoring in that many different types of areas of study. And so kind of what was that like? Did you come into UW wanting to do that, or was it because of COVID? Like you said, you had a lot of free time, so you were like, let me just add on philosophy. I know you're really passionate about the graphic design, like I've seen your stuff on social media, and I knew people that were in it and that it was very competitive. So I was just going to ask you, like, how did you get into that major? Like, what were the prereqs, or do you have like classes that folks should take, or like internships or things to be competitive?
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
say real
So,
quick, I love your reels. You make very good visual content.
Yes,
oh,
they're
thank you.
very good. Yeah,
I have one coming up soon, so
love
We'll
it.
be
We'll keep an
watching.
eye out.
it'll be a great banger, I promise. Yeah, when I got to college, so in high school, like, mind you, my parents never pressured me to get good grades. It was just kind of one of those things where it didn't seem that hard to get good grades. So I'm over here taking AP classes and college level classes, and I took this class called Anatomy and Physiology. I love the class. I learned every single muscle in the body, every single bone in the body, like nodes on, like I just learned everything about the body, and I was like, wow, like I love how different this is. Like I love that if someone comes to me with a problem, I can say, it could be this, this, or that, and it's never the same thing. I just loved it. So coming from high school to college, I was like, oh, we're gonna be a doctor. This is gonna be amazing. Like,
That was me. Yep,
right.
freshman year.
Oh, this is awesome. Boom, freshman year, you take a college level class and you're like, never mind. Okay,
It
let's go
made you
figure out what's next.
reevaluate. Yep.
Yeah, let's go
Did you
figure
take
out.
chemistry? Chem 142?
I sure did kick my butt.
Oh, yep. That one did it for me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a weed out class, but maybe this isn't what I want my reality to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, and of course, at the time, I was taking too many classes than I should have. And it's not even that I got a bad grade. Like, I think I still ended up with like a 3.5 in the class, which is
That's actually
pretty.
good. Good job.
But it wasn't a 3.5 I enjoyed, like, that sucked, and I was like, I don't this wasn't something that I wanted to do, like, at the time, I was like, I don't wanna have to pour that much energy and time into it, and so I was like, Let's figure out what's next," and so, as a freshman year does, it's time to take every single class that's possible, and so now I'm taking architecture classes, philosophy classes, design classes, um LSJ classes. Like I'm like, let's figure out what's gonna work. And so I found myself getting good grades in philosophy and architecture. I tried it and design. Design I actually got the worst grade out of ever. So there's a class called Design 166, and it's the funniest class because everyone thinks it's just clicking around on a laptop and submitting it, and teacher's gonna be like, oh, it looks nice, good grade. You take Design 166, and I don't remember if it's subjective or objective, but whatever the teacher feels is right gets a good grade. So, in your head, you're like, "This is a banger." I took a picture with my roommate, "This is a banger." They're like, "You know what? Everything's wrong about it." And that was the first time, I think, taking those classes is the first time where I've been told no so many times in a row. where I was like, "Oh, I kinda like it." Like, not in a weird way, but it was like it was in a way where it's like, you know what, like,
Like challenging.
it was challenging, like, it's the
Yeah.
first time I met a challenge where it wasn't based off of studying a book or studying what the internet had to say. It was a matter of actually figuring out what's right for that person. And I liked it. For some reason I really liked it and I got a bad grade in it. And I was like, we'll try it again. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't bad grade, move on to the next. It was bad grade, let's try it again. And so I ended up taking those three with me. Um I ended up dropping architecture because they had a lot of course requirements where I didn't want to spend more time doing that. So I I just didn't do it anymore. Like it was one of those things where it's like, well, I don't want to go to the store and spend $120 because mind you, schools like college, they charge you for your classes. Like there's course fees.
The fees, they don't tell you about the
They don't tell
fees
you about
when
the
you come in and you're like, how am I going to buy my homework code? Like, what?
what is that? Why am I
Yeah,
buying my test paper? Why am
exactly.
why am I buying what you have to that makes no sense. And so and again, it wasn't even like a matter of like I can't afford it. It's just like I don't want to do that. Like it's not that wasn't what was getting to me. So I ended up dropping that one and so they kind of like fell off one by one. But I ended up in the VCD major and once I made it into that major and I applied and I got in. So you have to send an individual resume of your work. So like this is what I've worked on over like my entire career. Like I tried making NFTs because that was the thing to do during COVID. I tried redesigning hoodie brands and restaurant brands and those things, and I sent it in. It was just kind of well, we'll see what happens, and I ended up getting in. And then like getting into the major was cool, but then it was also extremely challenging. And so that's how I ended up doing design because it just challenged me in a way that I felt like I wasn't being challenged in the rest of my life.
I
So
want to say I really love that about you, that it's like every time you see a challenge, you lean into it. You don't run away or shy away from it. You're like, you know what? This might be kicking my ass, but I'm gonna try
yeah.
to do it anyways, and I'm gonna just shoot for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, like you have to like it's the most fun thing in the world. If everything comes easy, it's not fun. So once I see a good challenge, I'm like, oh, we're going in. Like, let's try it some more, you know? And I think what also helped me stay with that more is that when I got into that major, I wasn't with people that I had normally seen. Like the people who do design, the people in my cohort think about things so differently. Like people talk about how if they visualize something, they see it as black and white or they see it as flat. But if you talk to someone in any design major, they're like, you know what, we see it in 3D, we see how it all plays out. And it's like I like their train of thought. I like the way that they attack situations differently. And I think it's so important to surround yourself with people that think differently, that different perspectives. Because if you don't have different perspectives, it's listening to yourself. And so I think the people in my major, and if they ever listen to this, whatever,
They will,
I
hopefully.
I have to give them a lot of credit to why I stayed in the major was just purely because they thought of things differently. Where I'm like, you know what, this should be that way, and they go, no, and because they're able to say because I'm like, you got me, like you have a reason why, and I like that, and so that's a huge reason why I stayed around.
Yeah, no, I think that's so great too. Just like you talk about the diversity of thought and how you were open to kind of exploration when you came into college. Because I feel like, a lot of like first gen students, I don't know if you're first gen, but um, so yeah, but even just like coming in, you have this path for yourself. And it sounds like you'd already really excelled in high school. And so you had these really high expectations, but you were willing to see what was out there outside of that narrow thought you had about, oh, I need to go to med school. You're like, well, let me take all these other classes and find out what's actually speaking to me. And then, found that you liked that challenge. And it sounds like you're very tenacious, like in everything you do, even when you are feeling like, okay, I'm a little bit, puzzled about this, or, I keep getting the no's, but you're willing to see it through. And I think that's key to be successful at anything. Just see it through.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't know, and it's okay if not. I don't know if you believe in astrology. What's your sign? I'm curious.
Oh, oh man, I don't know if I can dive off that board with you.
I know. I
Brad
always
loves this.
no.
Is it real? Is
Tell
it
me your
real?
sign. Are you a fire sign?
I don't know.
Damn. I was gonna
Oh,
say
you don't know it
Let
all?
me look up my birthday.
you're giving
Yeah,
Earth
yeah.
or fire. I don't
I think
know.
you're an Aquarius. I don't know
You
why I
said
feel like that, but
astrology?
Aquarius are very creative.
You said astrology, right? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Taurus. I'm a
You're a
Taurus.
Taurus.
Okay. Yeah, I said Earth or fire. Yeah.
Brad
Uh,
Yeah.
was right. Yeah. Well, you're very grounded. That would make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you
And
believe it, maybe you can
persistent.
look into it. Yeah, you'll look into it after this.
Yeah.
I may have to. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
My dad's birthday is on the 24th. My grandma's birthday is on the 16th. I'm on the 25th. My mom is on the 21st of May. So I don't know what any of it means, but we're all in the same bubble. That's all I feel.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
it's kind of interesting. I mean, some people put more weight to it than others, but sometimes I see the traits in my friends and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you do seem like an Aquarius, or you do seem like a Libra, like you're very outgoing or whatever. So it's just
so
kind of fun.
I love that. That's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, but like now we know you've graduated, so you made it through, which is fantastic, literally this past year. And so, like during this summer, what are you looking forward to? Do you have any big plans to celebrate? And then also, like, what's the big goal for your career, or do you even know yet?
I don't I don't know yet, but oh man, I love to network and I love to talk to people. Like so I'm just kind of looking forward to see what unfolds from that. Like I love just talking to random people and seeing what their story is or just who they know. You know, it's kind of you know that like
Companies might listen to this too, so hopefully
that's fantastic.
someone will find you.
That would be awesome. You know, like the 6 degrees of separation, and it's like the more people I talk to, like the closer I get to knowing Obama. Like, and right now I'm like 2 degrees of separation from it. So, like, like I'm waiting until I just know Obama. You know, and
You'll get there.
I'll get there. Like now that I'm graduated, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next.
I,
Whatever comes from what life is, I'm just excited to see who I know and what comes from it.
I'm manifesting right now that
Obama.
Obama is going to see this podcast and he's going to listen to this
Yep.
episode. And you know how Obama every year he releases like his top like
His
songs,
top
books, and
Spotify
podcasts?
playlist. Yep,
Oh
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, he's going to
Oh
listen and be
yeah.
like, "Oh, this is dope." And yeah, you're going to meet
This
Obama
is gonna
soon.
be the one for
Yep.
Oh,
us
that'd
and for
be
you, and
fantastic.
then you'll get a job with the Obama Foundation.
Period.
Honestly, I'm just trying to play basketball with Obama.
There you go.
He's a
Or you
great
can jump with Obama.
player. Obama don't want to jump, man. Jumping is the most painful thing I've ever done in my whole life.
You said
Like,
Obama don't want the smoke.
you don't want to smoke, man.
Your joints, it's too
I've tried
much.
to get a steamer to get here. Obama doesn't want to do that. No, but since I graduated, I think I'm in this apartment for a couple more months. I'm gonna go hang out with my brother, live with my brother for a little bit. Love him to death. So just figuring out what life has to offer. But and and I'm applying to jobs so worldwide. I just applied to a job in
Yes.
Thailand. I can't even
Oh wow.
I can't even speak. No, I speak
That's
English.
okay.
But I was like, you know what? Psh, hell
You
yeah.
never know.
I
You
need to
might end
take
up
notes
across
from
the
you.
world.
Like,
Yeah,
what am I gonna say? No? Okay.
exactly. You might get an interview.
I need to take notes from you because I'm always like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of America and Europe. I just need to do it. I need to
You're
start doing
already
stand-up.
applying. Yeah.
You're
Do it. Like,
inspiring me.
there's so many jobs, like especially in Europe too. Like there's so many job offers, and I'm just like, well, if they want to, they'll say yes. Like the worst they say is no, and I really don't care. So I'm over here like typing and sending, typing and sending, typing and sending. And just very flexible point in life right now. Like there's nothing anchoring me to anything. So
That's really cool. I feel like that first year, I know we said this earlier off camera, but that first year after graduating, it's like, okay, like, am I an adult yet? Is this what adulting is? And then you start applying for jobs, and that second year is like, oh my goodness, like, this is really my life right now.
right.
So try to find a job that you really enjoy, that you're happy with. And obviously that might take time, as you
Yeah.
just are new in the workforce. But I mean, you like challenges, so you'll get there.
I have to eventually shoot.
And I always say, be a job hopper. I know that the older generations don't like it, but that's the best way to figure out what the good fit is for you. Because I know for me, like in the last, I graduated in 2021, but yeah, the last like 4 years, I've had like 4 or 5 different jobs. So, I mean, it's good to just see, what you're really liking out of each one and then find what the transferable skills are and just let them take you, where it should. Like the opportunities will present themselves. And that's how I approach things. I'm like, I'm not going to have this like one set, idea of what the job should be. Like you can create the job too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You can create the job.
Well, yeah, we're excited for you. I feel like you're going to be fine. You'll find something. And that'd be so cool if you could go abroad, though. And honestly, like, I think we limit ourselves too because we think, like, growing up here in the US, like, this is all there is. There's a whole world, and you can get a work visa and go live somewhere for a year or
Right.
two and then come back if you don't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot. All my friends are doing it right now anyways.
Yeah. When you reflect on your childhood as a young black boy, like just growing up, what words of wisdom would you like to share with others, or what would you tell your younger self now, looking back in retrospect?
It's phrased in a fun way. I love that. Honestly, there's two things, and it's a phrase that I've been told my whole life by my dad and by my mom. So my dad always said, "There's no question that's a dumb question," and the only way to learn something new is by simply asking. So just having that curiosity to challenge yourself to learn has been the number one thing, and so that's one big thing, and then the second one is what my mom says, and I said this earlier, but I learned it from my mom and Gramps, but there's nothing significant enough that you can't let go and just move forward. So, water on a duck's back. Um, Whatever happens, happens. It doesn't matter, like, this is your life, and if you take real big control over that, like, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. And so just kind of living life how you want to, like you control all aspects of your life and just being willing to take control of that is biggest thing I've learned. That's what I want to tell myself at least.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like and you're following that advice too. And you seem like very inquisitive, like you are very curious. And I was going to talk about that kind of where you got that from. And it sounds like it's from your family. They encourage you to look into things deeply. And it makes sense that you'd be interested in philosophy too, just after this conversation. So, yeah, no, that's great. And then, like, just talking about your upbringing more, because I know I had talked to you when you were in high school, actually, because I was in the journalism program and
Oh,
you
that's
were
awesome.
on the track team. I don't know if you remember this, but I had
That's
been doing
crazy.
some local stories. And I remember I interviewed, I think it was one of your coaches, and I forget their name. And you were one of the athletes they recommended. They're like, you need to talk to Preston. And so I remember I spoke to you.
Awesome.
It was just like a class project, so it didn't get published or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
But you
that's
were really fun to talk to. But I was going to ask you, like, what was that like growing up in Bellevue? Because I know that's predominantly white. Seattle's predominantly white. I mean, a little bit different, demographic than Bellevue. But did you like experience any feelings of isolation, being black, going to like, did you go to was it Bellevue High or
I went to Bellevue High School. That's
Bellevue High? Yeah. So it's been a long time. That's like 6 years ago.
dude, honestly, obviously we go way back.
We go way back.
We
No,
go way
so I
back.
was like, this is so cool to see what he's done. But
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I grew up in Pasadena, California. So I grew up in California. I went to a private Catholic school. I wear a uniform from kindergarten through eighth grade. And then I moved to Washington with my family, and then we moved to Bellevue. And so I think, like, first and foremost, I would never say I'm the blackest in the general sense of like I grew up in a non-affluent area. Like I grew up around what I grew up around. And so growing up in Bellevue wasn't that big of a culture shock. I think the friends and people that I was surrounded by relatively stayed the same. I was never in a place where like the majority of people were black or African American or honestly anything that isn't white or Asian. So first and foremost, I just want to get that off the table and kind of sweep to the side. Like that was my reality. Like it wasn't like I was coming from somewhere else, I guess. But I think the biggest challenge or the biggest culture shock saw was in Washington. It's a trope. It's a Seattle trope that they don't talk as much, but it's true. They aren't as social in the sense that they aren't willing to say hello to everyone that they see. And so when I moved here, I kind of did struggle with the fact that it's a little bit more cliquish here. Like you kind of have to niche yourself down to make yourself into this friend group and then kind of blow yourself back up into who you were. And so it's kind of navigating your ability to get into those groups and know these people. And I think that was one of the biggest things I challenged. Um, I think another thing in Bellevue was it's a different lifestyle. Like you go from California to here, and here they're like, oh yeah, let's go hang out at the beach park. Let's go on a boat. Let's do X or Y and Z. And it's kind of like, okay, that's different. I never thought about that as fun. Like you read books all the time and you're like, we used to do this in the country. We used to shoot cans for fun. And you're like, okay, like that makes sense. But you move from a suburb to suburb and you're like, oh, okay, like they think of things a little bit differently. Um, so I didn't necessarily have any adverse experiences. I think I was going to find friends anyways. Like I never doubted my ability to find friends or find a place. I think every human is genuine enough to open their arms and take anyone in. Um and I guess if I had like strategies to overcome those challenges, it's just to figure out what they like. Like they like something different, find out why they like it. And if you find out why they like it and they're willing to explain it to you, you have a new friend. Like you can make a friend so easily. I was just in Yosemite 2 weeks ago with my girlfriend, and I was sitting on a bus across from this couple, and they had children, and I was like, "How old are your kids? Why are you guys in Yosemite? Why are we hiking at 12 in the afternoon? What's their story?" And so just I don't know, being curious enough or being genuine enough to care about someone's story and why they are the way they are. I think I said that right. Um, that does more than half the battle. That's like 90% of the battle. The last 10% is just you being yourself. So yeah, not too crazy. Not too crazy.
I'm so happy to hear that. It seems like you mostly like you had a positive experience other than just trying to figure out, where you fit in the friend groups and stuff, understanding the social dynamics. But also that seems like it was a good time for you, like coming in as a freshman in high school. Like everyone's transitioning at that time too. And so
Exactly.
for you, it was just like, let me put myself out there. And so I think that's really valuable advice for folks that even if they're introverted or say they're new to a job or to a school or wherever, there's just a transition in life, just get to know people, like genuinely ask questions, like spark a conversation. Especially in Washington, like people are standoffish here. And I've noticed that. And like people always think I'm not from Washington because I'm very outgoing. And so they're like, you're from here? And I'm like, yes. But it's like, just be nice, just be friendly, ask what people are doing, what they're interested in. Don't do it in a performative, like fake way, but you
Yeah.
can actually build relationships from that. So I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I will echo that. Seattle is definitely clicky. That's
Yeah.
something that I feel like we can all relate to here. And I was gonna ask you, did you experience any of that when you walked on? Because imagine like, they kind of had their own cliques within, the track team, or was it there more camaraderie among the team and they like welcomed you in once they got more familiar with you? Or did it take a minute?
Um, no, like my track team, like the girls and the guys, I loved everyone. I think the only thing that took some figuring out with was athlete language or athlete's identity. I think there is a little bit of a difference in pride in who you are and how you speak to people. I think that was the biggest thing I I had to understand. You meet football players have a certain identity and pride in themselves and what they've done. And I say this all the time, but there's like a football outlook. Like more is better, and that's not always the truth. But understanding that a football player is going to think like the harder you work at something, the more results you get. And just understanding that they have different identities and languages. It's like I don't know, you go to the South and they have certain phrases and things that you're like, what did they say? You know?
The slang, yeah, you're like, wait, I don't know what this means.
Understand that like they created that slang to simplify the life that they're living. So like for athletes and being in the athlete world, there's certain things where it's like this is their reality and this is their world and this is what happens in it. But personally, my team was fantastic. I've met some of my best friends doing it. Jamie Schluter. I don't know if you guys have met him, but he was on the track team. He's a great guy from the UK, and he's just awesome. Jake Engler, he's was a pole vaulter. He came from Wazoo, but it's like one of those people where it's like, oh, he's a little bit different. Like he has a little twinkle in his eye. Or like Nathan Green. Nathan Green is one of my favorite people. He's one of those people where it's like I like to say I'm a go getter, but he's someone who before he even finished go getter, he'll have done it. Like he'll just do it. And just meeting like some of those people, and that's just on the guy side. Like I can name so many people on my team that have made such a impact on my life. Whereas like they welcomed me in and they taught me so many things about just how to be and how to exist and how to carry yourself that like I'm like I can't explain how thankful I am for it.
I love that. So it really does seem like they welcomed you with open arms and you were able to build like a little family. And
Yeah,
I
no.
feel like, yeah, me and Tiana met in high school through track. I think it's so funny because
Oh,
I didn't
really?
really know what I was doing and I showed up to practice the first day in my spikes and we had never met. And she's like, "Why are you wearing your spikes?"
He was a little freshman, and I was
I
like,
know.
it's the first day we're warming up, and he has his spikes on. I was like, do you have just regular
Why are you
running
wearing
shoes
specs?
to start?
Yeah,
Like,
where
he
is
was
that?
just ready to go. He was ready to show us, how fast he was. So
I was ready to go.
You know
yeah,
what?
but that's how we became friends. We were tracksters in high school. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna ask you, this is a little off topic and random,
yeah.
but you mentioned like, going to the Catholic schools and like growing up and wearing uniforms. Did that like have an impact on like your sense of style later on in life or your like personal fashion sense? Like, did you kind of have to like find that later on? Because I can't imagine wearing like the same thing every day. I would go crazy, even as a child.
I've never had like heard someone ask that question. That's pretty funny.
That's such a it's such a fair question. My girlfriend every
Yeah.
single day tells me I have the worst fashion in the world, and I'm like,
No.
but have you seen these linen pants though?
You're like, I missed the uniform. It was so easy. Just put it on.
It was so easy. No, I think I just lived life like everyone else. Like you go through that. Everyone went through that highlighter phase where they're wearing neon yellow and green and orange. So I feel like I did that. But I honestly think I just got really comfortable in wearing whatever because everybody was doing the same thing. So I think that was the extent of it. Like I don't think it impacted how I dress. I think it just impacted how I cared. Like I just don't care. Like I'll wear an orange shirt and cargo pants and it's not the most fashionable thing, but I'm not walking outside with nude. So don't be that mad at me. Like
Exactly.
I think it definitely impacted just my thought towards it. Like I'm wearing something and I can do everything I wanted to do, so big whoop. But I'm definitely not the most fashionable person. I will say that. I will say
That's okay. It's you though. It seems like it's authentic to you and you're not
yeah,
putting too much thought into it. And so you can put your thoughts and energy into other things.
right. That's what I'm thinking. Like
Yeah.
the photo.
Maybe I should take that advice because I be really planning my fits. I don't play.
You do. He does plan them
I
out.
know
No.
I've seen your fits and every single time I'm like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, and he
I
literally
would have
has a
done.
jumpsuit.
That's pretty
We
great.
have the same jumpsuit. And he showed up one day and we're wearing the same jumpsuit. I was like, you're honestly wearing it way better. I have to change. Like I can't walk out of the house. I was like, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah. No, because I've driven past you, I've walked past you on random days, and I'm like, dude, calm down.
He's always serving.
Yeah, like, it's Tuesday at 8 in the morning. You don't have to do that. Like,
It's a fashion show. Life's your runway.
you got it.
I love that. Well, this has been so fun. We went way over time. So sorry if you had other stuff going on today. But yeah, you just like give so much detail. And our last question, this is a question we ask all of our guests, and it's a theme of our podcast, just understanding how our identities have influenced who we are, how we show up in the world, and also just like our careers. And so we are going to ask you, what does Blackness mean to you? And take your time.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, you guys definitely sent this question to me, and I was like, "Yeah, we won't have time for that." No, I think Blackness is commonly defined as community and based on your strength of identity within that community. And I think that that means, like, how proudly you claim to be black and that's who you are. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, but being black is culture after all. And to me, it often feels personal first. So culturally, like blackness is seeing yourself through so many lenses that you learn to kind of build your own. Like you have to find yourself in every single room. And it's how can I exist as myself as I navigate the world as it unfolds. And so kind of being black is deciding who you are every single day. Like it's very many hats. And it's being a part of a legacy that is constantly challenged. If you're not one thing, you're another. If you don't act a certain way, you're not being yourself. And so it's kind of just intuition at the end of the day. And being black sharpens who you are, your sense of self. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, you learn to move through rooms that weren't designed for you at all. And you still leave your imprint. You navigate, you talk to people and you engage people as yourself and you leave an imprint. It's like, wow, they're freaking cool. They're freaking awesome. You guys are fantastic. I met you guys apparently multiple times throughout my life.
Thank you so much.
But, but
Apparently, you've seen us a lot, and we just didn't know. So
no, I mean, but that's what happens. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it means imagination. Like imagine yourself in all these different realms and aspects of life. And I never think of blackness as a disadvantage or shoot even an advantage. I think if life chooses to give you a spotlight, why not let people watch? You know? And I think if being black means you're being seen more, then so be it. You're being seen more. Like no publicity is bad publicity. And yeah,
I
it's
love
Honestly,
that.
I
yeah.
think that was one of the best answers we've gotten on this podcast. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
they're all so unique
Oh
too.
man.
And that's the beauty of it. That was our goal is just to hear like how we define it personally. And you literally started with like it's personal. And that's so true
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
make it what we want it to be. And like some people have this very monolithic view of what blackness is. And like once we decide to like extricate ourselves from what those stereotypes are, then we truly are like being our blackest selves, if that makes sense. And so yeah, I think you just encapsulated that perfectly. Like
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. You ate. Give him his 10s.
You did your big one.
Yeah, I did my big one. Shoot.
Yes. And no publicity is bad publicity. That's right.
Yeah, you have to be yourself. Like
Yeah.
if someone's watching you, they were watching you. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's like, oh, I did bad. No, they watched you be
Yeah.
bad. They were watching. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. They were still watching. That's the point.
You saw me. Yeah, you saw me.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else like you wanted to share that we didn't cover in this at all before we wrap up officially?
Um,
We went through a lot, I feel like.
uh,
Speak from
uh,
the heart. What do you got to
maybe
say?
maybe just like explicitly saying it, just because. Oh, and I love my mom, my parents, my family, my friends, my dad. Brother, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, and I didn't get here alone. Like, I don't want that to ever be like, you walked on, he kind of created this. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a village to raise one and the culture to raise one. And I think it's something we don't say enough. Like, every professor I had, and I had favorite professors, of course, every coach, teammate, or stranger that I've met on a bus, for example. And I think it all adds up to like who you are. And I just hope my story reminds someone that you should be who you are. Like you should engage and if life is a game, you have to play the game and just enjoy it. So if anyone's listening and trying to figure out whether or not they chase something, just go after it. If nothing's too far out of reach. Just that first step's the hardest, but once momentum gets carried, the ball is rolling. You'll keep going. So I think that's
Amazing.
what I have to say. And
Yeah.
my grandma listens to this. Well, I love my grandma, and I'm glad
Yes.
for her, so she doesn't have a choice. I just fast forward to the end, but
There you go.
love her to death.
That's so cool. Yeah, well, I'm very excited for everyone to listen into this. I know our listeners will really enjoy it. And you just shared so many nuggets of knowledge, I feel like, that people are going to use to be successful in the future, especially aspiring athletes, but also people interested in graphic design and stuff too. Anyone, all this advice is applicable to anyone. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Yes. All right.
Have a
Thank you.
good summer.
Well, I will. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
And maybe we'll
Preston.
see you walking around since now I know you're a
Exactly.
block
Okay.
away.
You know
So,
what the problem is I don't walk. That's probably why you guys haven't seen
oh,
me.
really? Okay, I'm walking every day.
I'm in the
So,
car.
yeah, you are
There
in
you
the
go.
car.
I'm in the car.
Or on the
Well,
line.
next time, wave at us. Roll down and wave.
I
You
will.
did the one time, but
I slammed on the brakes, and I think that was the scariest thing I could have ever done to you guys.
yeah, we were like, what? Who is this person? And we were like, oh, okay.
I know. We were like, is someone after us? Like,
No, we were scared.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. Next time I'll
no,
be
it's
better.
okay. It was a
It's
pleasant
okay.
surprise.
That's
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you guys.
Yeah, our emotions, it was a very volatile moment. We were like, what's happening? Oh, positive though.
Yeah. I love that. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Best of
Bye.
luck in your first year of adulting. Stay in touch.
I
You're gonna
will.
do great.
You guys got any connections?
We
My
do.
LinkedIn, my LinkedIn is www.prestinartis@linkedin.com. So,
Period.
Yes. This will be shared on LinkedIn. You will be tagged in the post along with all of our other guests that have not been revealed yet. And so I feel like you're going to get some good eyes for some job prospects.
oh gosh, I'm hoping
Yeah.
for it. Thank
They're
you
I'm
gonna
guys.
see
excited
that
for you to see the guest list.
Thank you guys.
they're gonna see that you don't give up. So you're gonna get a
Yeah.
job. They're gonna be like, wow, he don't quit. He really, tackles challenges
Need a
head
guy
on.
like that. Need a guy
He
like
keeps
that.
it up. Yeah.
Mhm.
That'd be fantastic.
Okay. Well, talk to you later. Bye.
So.
We deeply appreciate your support as we work to uplift the Black community and explore our unique experiences within the Black diaspora on Identity Unboxed.
Authenticity is your guide to cast an impact on the world that you will be proud of. Signing off with pride, Tiana.
And Brad.
Thank you so much.